Can I just check online? You can see the PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm just going to maximize it. All right. I just got to check around. I go around just.
You're going to read acknowledgement statement first?
Yes, I did acknowledge it. I'm just making sure we've got a quorum. Everyone's here? Yes, yes. Yes, everyone's here. All right. All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. So of course it's traditional to start these events off with acknowledgement of country. So I'd like to acknowledge the First Peoples and the traditional custodians of the lands and waterways in which we are on and on all campuses of Australian Catholic University. We'd like to acknowledge elders past and present and future for their ongoing custodianship of the lands and waterways. So I'd just like to hand over to Nouman, who will be doing shortly his CoC, which is confirmation of candidature. I'd like to also acknowledge today that the supervisory panel is Associate Professor Teresa Dickey, Professor Amanda Telford, Dr. Geetanjali Bhaskara, and also Mr. Andy Bison as the Associate Supervisor and User. And on today's CoC panel, we have Associate Professor Jesse Gao as the Chair, Dr. Ryan Wu, and also Dr. Matthew White as the experts. So without further ado,
thank you. So I'm here for my confirmation of candidature presentation, and the title of my study is Examining the Relationship of Teacher Career Choice Motives and Teacher Wellbeing Outcomes from I Love Teaching to Is It Friday Yet? So here's the overview of thesis. The thesis contains 3 studies. Study 1 is a systematic review. That is the relationship between teacher career choice motives and teacher well-being and retention. Study 2 is a TALIS-based study in which we will be looking for the correlation between career choice motives, well-being outcomes like stress and job satisfaction, moderated by school climate. And the third study is a qualitative one, in which we will be looking for teachers' perspective on the relationship between or the teacher motives and well-being and retention, like what teachers think about well-being and how it safeguards, like what teachers think about motives to join teaching, how it safeguards their well-being and retention. This is a statement of problem. As we all know, teaching is a high-stress profession globally, and there are also reports of poor mental health as compared to other professions. Teacher shortages are also very prevalent. Early attrition is also very prevalent in Australia, UK, and parts of Europe. So understanding the teacher career choice motives is very crucial to retain teachers and address the complexity of their work. Why is this important? Here are the aims, contributions, and implications. Examining this study aims at examining the relationship between teacher career choice motives and well-being, moderated by contextual factors that are some of them are contextual factors like school climate, some of them are demographics or individual factors like gender and level of experience. This also aims at improving teacher retention and reducing attrition. This study contributes in by providing support to people with extrinsic motives into teaching and in shaping school climates that supports teacher well-being. This study also offers supports to identify teachers who lack intrinsic motives to join teaching and to reduce burnout and to promote long-term retention, like how we can retain teachers.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you. Here are overarching research questions. The first research question is, how are teacher career choice motives related to teacher well-being? Second question is, are there differences in relationship between career choice motives and teacher well-being due to contextual factors like school climate and demographics like level of experience and gender? And the third question is, what we can learn about the process and mechanism of teacher career choice motives predicting later well-being outcomes. This is about teacher motives. What are teacher motives? From where they came? The motivations or the reasons as SDT defines them. These are the reasons underlying behavior, like why we do what we do. So teacher motivations are the reasons to choose teaching as a career. Like what influence someone to choose teaching. There are two major categories: intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic motives to teaching contain personal motives, growth, and satisfaction, while the extrinsic ones are like work-life balance, uh, good salary, job stability. And these teacher career choice motives, whether they are intrinsic or extrinsic, they impact teacher well-being, retention, and job satisfaction. Here is from where we find theoretical support. SDT is the major supporter of this construct. Teacher values, the concept from expectancy value theory, and the fit choice model, factors influencing teaching choice. These are the three which align to our understanding of this construct. Self-determination theory. SDT differentiates between intrinsic and extrinsic motives that was introduced by Deci and Ryan, 1985. They focus on intrinsic and extrinsic motivations or motives, and they say that intrinsic motivation enhances well-being. Someone who has intrinsic motives into teaching will be higher well-being, having higher well-being, good job satisfaction, and will be more engaged to work. While someone with only extrinsic motivations, and if they are not compensated, these are they will be having some stress and burnout, some cynicism and exhaustion. They also talk about another category, like a couple of categories. These are autonomous and controlled, and they come from identified regulation plus intrinsic into autonomous. And if introjected regulations are added into extrinsic, they make controlled motivations. Here are some examples. Intrinsic motivations are related to your personal motivations or the inner motives like belonging, fun and curiosity, loving working with children or adolescents. And extrinsic motives contain like salary, work-life balance, job stability. This is the teacher's value, the concept from expectancy value theory. The expectancy value theory explains teacher career choice motives are influenced by values and costs. What are values? There are three categories: attainment values, utility values, and intrinsic values or intrinsic interest. Attainment value, importance of teaching, someone the worth someone has for teaching or the importance someone feels for teaching. The utility value is about future benefits like retirement, old age benefits or development, personal growth. And the intrinsic interests are related to enjoyment of teaching. So the values shape teacher career choice motives and willingness to pursue teaching. Like they help someone or they influence someone become teacher and keep teaching. The fit choice model, factors influencing teaching, they give three categories of motives or motivations or the factors that influence teaching. The altruistic one are related to giving. Like we have something and we want to share that with society. We want to give it to society. We are thinking of helping society or working with children. Intrinsic and extrinsic are somehow similar as defined by SDT. Intrinsic contains love for teaching or accomplishment, while extrinsic is pay, job stability, and salary. Here is the job demands and resources model, and it talks about the two connected yet different processes, like they are interconnected. So one of them is motivational process, one of them is health impairment process. The motivational process that is here, and this study assumes that intrinsic teacher career choice motives can be a good resource for teachers, and if that is if teachers are having intrinsic motives to join teaching, and it is a good resource, then it will be heading to job satisfaction and engagement. That is positive well-being outcome. And if teachers lack intrinsic motives, plus they have other job demands that are prevalent anywhere, like physical, mental, and psychological efforts and fatigue, they will be causing stress and burnout that are negative teacher well-being outcomes. So here is the motivational process that starts from resources. The other resources that other than intrinsic motives can be autonomy, sport, and a sportive culture at school or the workplace. And these job resources help gain job satisfaction and engagement. These are the positive teacher well-being outcomes. This is the overall hypothesis of this study. Teacher career choice motives, they can be intrinsic and extrinsic, and they have a relationship with teacher well-being outcomes. They can also be intrinsic as well as, positive as well as negative. Positive job teacher well-being outcomes are job satisfaction, while the negative ones are stress and burnout, and individual and contextual differences like school climate and the level of experience, the gender, and age. These are all the individual and contextual differences that can moderate this relationship. So, now let's talk about studies, specifically the study one, that is a systematic review. In this study, we will be looking for the relationship between teacher career choice motives and teacher well-being and retention. This is the objective of this study as well. And the process follows, including the inclusion and exclusion criteria. First of all, we will be setting an inclusion and exclusion criteria to get the studies on in-service primary and secondary teachers in formal education settings, focusing on teacher motives and teacher well-being. Then the screening process begins, in which we will be doing title and abstract screening, followed by full text review. The use of forward and backward search techniques to include relevant studies. And then the data section takes place, in which the study characteristics, outcomes, effect size to analyze relationship between teacher motives and well-being will take place. And at the end, we will be doing the meta-analysis on eligible studies to assess the heterogeneity and pooled effect sizes using multi-level meta-analysis in R. The research, the search terms that will be used in meta-analysis are here. There are 4 categories of search terms. One, the first category is teachers, second is teacher career choice motives, third one is well-being, and the last one is turnover or intention to quit. These are designed in a way that they generate a good pool of studies and dig out the maximum studies on these constructs, so that we are good at screening and have a good pool of studies. Study 2, that the TALIS-based study, the correlation between teacher motives and teacher well-being outcomes as moderated by school climate. Here is the objective of this study and the key research questions that include: what is the relationship between teacher motives, teacher stress, and job satisfaction? How this relationship is moderated by school climate, reported by teachers, as well as reported by principals, and how generalizable this relationship is across TALIS countries. Like, we will be also looking for the generalizability of this relationship across the TALIS countries in TALIS 2018 data. This is the process of study 2. Sample, as told earlier, that this will be the OECD's TALIS 2018 data. That is from 32 countries, representing a broad sample of in-service teachers. Data analysis method, multi-level modeling, and then followed by moderation analysis to explore interaction effects. And the modeling has 3 stages, beginning with teacher data, introducing the school climate, and at the end, we will be assessing the generalizability using forest plots. School climate is here. We will be looking for school climate reported by teachers as well as principals to investigate how it influences the relationship between teacher motives and well-being. Hypothesized model for study 2, teacher career choice motives having the relationship between teacher well-being outcomes like job satisfaction, stress, and burnout, and how this relationship is moderated by school climate. And here's the third and last study, that is a qualitative study in which we will be interviewing some teachers to know their perspective on teacher well-being and how it safeguard teacher career choice motives and how they safeguard their well-being. The objective is to investigate how teacher motives evolve over time and how they impact teacher well-being and retention. The key research questions are, how does teacher motives change over time? Have level of motivation or commitment increased or decreased? We will be taking the coming slide will tell you about the teachers we will be interviewing. There are some early career, some mid-career, and some retired teachers. And we will be asking the teachers that how the level of motivation have increased or decreased. Like when they started their career and now they are when they are in their mid-career or have retired, have they notice any increase or decrease in this level of commitment, and do they intend to quit, or are there any intentions for turnover? So this is the first question. And second, did teacher courage motives, specifically intrinsic, play a role protecting the well-being? We will ask teachers like, did these intrinsic, if they had intrinsic motives to join teaching, did it protected their well-being more better, or if they had extrinsic ones, they had played good. This is the method. We will be interviewing 30 teachers from public, independent, and Catholic schools at different career stages, early career, mid-career, and some retired teachers. And we will be interpreting the data collected through interviews using IPPE, interpretative phenomenological analysis, that is to explore how individuals make sense of their personal and lived experiences, and in-depth understanding into complex, emotionally significant events, providing deep insights. And this is the application of IPA that is widely used in psychology and other social sciences, specifically for the topics that are emotionally led in, like well-being and motives. So here are the future implications. This study aims at understanding how teacher motives impact well-being and how this improves retention. Like if teacher motives have something to do with well-being, or how they safeguard their well-being, how they increase their well-being, and how they help retaining teachers at a particular school or a particular station. And it aims at guiding the stakeholders, the policymakers, the employers in the school to safeguard the teacher well-being and to reduce burnout. And it also aims at providing a foundation for future research on teacher motives, teacher well-being, and broader impact of school climate. Like based on these studies, the further researchers can have a good understanding of these concepts that will be explored in the findings. So here's the timeline that includes all the core events of all the three studies. That the events that will take place during these studies are given sufficient time. There is time for learning. There is time for publication. There is time for annual leaves also included in timeline. So this is the timeline for starting from April 2024 when I started my PhD, and ending in March 2027 when I will be submitting my thesis. So, and
I would say, yes, Chair.
Okay, I'll start from me and then we'll pass over to the panel member and go for okay. Thank you, Nouman. I think the presentation is well structured and this series prepares. I got a couple of questions. I start with the big picture questions regarding the contextualization of motives.
Okay.
From motivational perspective, motives will include like those like self-belief measure, like self-concept, self-efficacy, or perceived teaching related to those things. Could you tell me why you didn't consider those self-belief measure as a motive in your study?
Like I think the intrinsic and extrinsic motivations are the major categories of motives. Like I believe personally that these categories can have a big room for all the minor motivations, or you can say the other motivations that fall into these categories. Like if we go back into the
Yes.
intrinsic motivations, there are motivations that are related to self-belief, or there are motivations that are related to self-efficacy, like you can say to achieve something, to accomplish something. So there are some motives like that. They're not specifically defining self-efficacy or self-belief, but they are somehow related to those motives. So I think intrinsic and extrinsic are the major categories that, and many other motives or motivations can fall into these categories. Although Fit Choice have given the other third category of altruistic motivations or motives, but intrinsic and extrinsic are vast enough to contain all the minor motivations. That's what I believe.
Thank you. The next question, could you go to your search term?
Okay.
You're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's done. Yeah. Next to study one. Yeah. Next. Yeah.
So that's why I can see here for the first category, which is the choices and motives, right? All the term is about like value, right? About value and like I think theoretically or you mentioned like SDT like goal tenders, goal content theory. So I was wondering whether you should consider some other like categories in that theory, like intrinsic and intrinsic aspiration, life goals, those like related search term here. Because like yeah, so that's why it's more about value. It's it's fancy based theory or this intrinsic motivation. What we may consider like aspiration, like something aspiration term.
I think some of them are here, like self-determination and the identified regulation, the attainment, the utility.
Yeah,
But
but you need to add something about aspiration.
For my question is very clear.
Yeah.
So, what is your definition of intrinsic motivation?
intrinsic motivations are related to someone's self. Like I'm internally motivated to do something. It's my personal, you can say, like I'm self-influenced to do something. I'm here for my CoC. That's not my self-influence. I'm here for extrinsic motivation. I'm more extrinsically motivated to present CoC to get my milestone. Success in Milestone and get my PhD. So intrinsic motivations are the self-regulations. Like you are regulated by self, you are self-influenced, and if I'm hungry, I will go for food. That is self-regulation. Like there is no need to someone other to interrupt, or someone other like no reward, no others influence, no others effort.
Underlying reason why I engaged in
Yeah, reasons underlying behavior.
yeah,
Yep.
so because interest because I like it, I love it.
Yeah.
This is a kind of a type of physical definition of activity. So that's why I was asking that. I can see some other such as terms like the some aspirations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I asked what that means.
Yeah, or like intrinsic value, something materialism, something like that, to capture the aspiration of career choices. And I got another question here. So if I saw you got the well-being and you got the intentions and quick, so I think these two outcomes, right? So they should be all instead of and between these two.
Well-being or intention to quit.
Yeah. Is it about right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the ones about like extra curiosity. About study two, you tell me a little bit what kind of measure you use for like the choice motives, the teacher choice motive they study to.
Sorry, what my years?
So what kind of research, what kind of like survey questions was useful to measure teacher career choice?
Teacher, yeah.
In test.
There are some type of questions that what influenced you to join teaching, what motivated you to become a teacher, and like what are the reasons you became a teacher, and they particularly give some loaded questions, like they give some options, like you join teaching for salary, tick salary, or the good like vacation period, or holidays, or the job stability, or teaching as a fallback career. So these are the some type of questions that they generally ask for teachers to why they become teachers.
That's good. Thank you. Yeah, that's all my questions.
Thank you. I'll open it up to the expert panel. Matthew, can you got any questions? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Congratulations. I think it was really good. We put this together really well. I thought I was reading through it. Thought this is something that is really useful. Just a couple of things that jumped out to me was there any reason why there was no discussion around teacher formation? My thinking is that definitely there's motivations for teachers wanting to be becoming a teacher, but there's also motivations around being a teacher, and then formation plays a big part in this. Is there any reason that you didn't include teacher training?
Are you asking about like retaining teachers? Being
more so around, so there are big changes that take place from motivation to be a teacher, and then your motivation whilst you're training to be a teacher, and then being a teacher. In your sort of examination, I didn't see anywhere where you talked about teacher training. But I know in the TALIS survey there is some questions that ask teachers around the level of training they receive and the satisfaction of that training.
Yeah, I think that may follow up, like when we are asking that we will be supporting the teachers with extrinsic motives. Like I'm not sure about the upcoming studies. Like we may include some of such trainings or some of the things that support the teachers with extrinsic motivations. Like the people with intrinsic motivations are good at well-being. There is no concern with them. But teachers who only have extrinsic motivations, they just became teachers for good salary or the long vacation period or something like this. They need some trainings or some support. So this can be studied in the later our upcoming studies. This can be included in our later studies, that how we support. Like we have talked about supporting those teachers with extrinsic motives, but we can add such trainings or such modules that how we support those teachers with extrinsic motives.
And so the other question I had is when you looked at the teacher motivations, you're looking at it from a multi-level construct, aren't you? So you're not looking at it from a single level, like you're not just looking at motivation, individual motivations. Because my thinking is that teacher motivation to be a teacher and to become and be a teacher is not like a one-dimensional or two-dimensional construct. There's a combination of intrinsic and extrinsic. Is that right? You're looking at multi-dimensions?
Yep. Yeah, because the first thing that there are multi-stages or multi-dimensions of this construct, and the second that our data is widespread. Like there are many divisions of the data. We can divide the data on the basis of countries, on the basis of gender, on the basis of the schooling system, on the basis of the formal and non-formal teaching. So there are many levels and many stages of the data. So that's why we are using that.
And then so in your lit review, and again, this is the meta-analysis is not my area of expertise, but just out of interest, how do you achieve the connection between, obviously I can see you'll get papers around teacher well-being, you get papers around teacher intentional motivation, you got papers around teacher attrition. How are you going to establish those relationships?
We are using like we have designed the search terms to generate or dig out all the papers. Then we will be using the forest nesting to build the connections between the studies that are related to the current studies model. Like that will be including school climate, that will be including the teacher well-being as outcomes, like positive outcomes, negative outcomes, and that will be using looking for teacher motivations to become teacher or teacher career choice motives. So that's how it will go.
And so the other one I had was so are you looking for a relation? Are you saying there's a relation? So in your hypothesis, are you saying there's a relationship there between motivation and sort of teacher well-being, or are you testing a relationship to see if it's there? So is it you want to establish there is one, or you're looking at what that relationship is?
No, we are looking for what the relationship is, like how teacher motives play with well-being. Like, do they generate positive well-being outcomes like satisfaction and work engagement, or specifically if someone is intrinsically motivated or have intrinsic motive, career choice motives, they have more well-being or most positive well-being outcomes as compared to the one who only have the extrinsic motives. So this is how we are checking how this relationship goes on. We are not generating that.
So it's already established. It's already established that there is a relationship between these two sort of things.
Yeah. There are a lot of studies that talk about this relationship. Like if teachers are intrinsically motivated, they have more job satisfaction. They are more committed with their work. They are more satisfied. They are more engaged at their work.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Matthew. Ryan, any feedback or questions?
Okay, I have one question. What variables will be included in your second study? Yeah, you have mentioned so much.
Sorry, can you say that again? So just dropped out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. My only question is about the variables. What variables will be included in your second study?
We will be looking for the relationship between teacher career choice motives and teacher well-being outcomes. Now there are many outcomes, but the outcomes that are in tele-study are the stress and burnout. Like we will be looking for the job satisfaction at the positive end as a positive job well-being outcome, and stress and burnout as a negative. Stress and strain as negative well-being outcome. And we will also looking for the interaction or moderation effect of school climate, like how school climate moderates the relationship between teacher career choice motives and teacher well-being. And here in the first end, we have two teacher career choice motives, two categories. The first one is intrinsic and extrinsic. And at the last end, we have a positive school well-being outcomes like job satisfaction and negative well-being outcomes like stress or strain.
Okay. Are the variables available in your mentioned data set? You mentioned you will use the PISA one.
Sorry, is there any suggestion? Are you suggesting to use PISA?
Yeah. I heard you mentioned that the PISA data set. Yeah, have you checked all the variables available in the PISA data set?
Talents.
It's TALIS data.
Oh, tells that data.
Yeah, I have read the TALIS data, not in more specific details, but the variables we are talking about, like stress and the job satisfaction, are there available? Like they have specific portions or specific parts in the data set or in their questionnaires that ask about the job satisfaction and stress or strain.
Yeah, I have no question. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Good.
Couple of points. I like the idea that maybe you should be including some sort of self-efficacy, teacher self-efficacy. It would seem to me that would be critical to almost all the variables that you're talking about. But my main question was school climate. pops up in all sorts of different places in your presentation. Now, this could be considered resource in the JDR model. It could be considered a mediator. That mediates between resources and job resources and outcomes. It could be seen as a moderator. It could be an L1 variable at the teacher level, but better, it should be at classroom, or it should be a school level. And so the school level would mean that it should be treated as an L2 variable. And so I was wondering if you can clarify what you're thinking on is about the use of school conduct. And the Talus, do you have enough teachers within a school to be able to treat classroom climate as an L2 variable?
Yeah, like in this study currently, we are taking school climate as a moderator between the relationship, moderating the relationship between teacher, career choice, motives, and well-being. But that's very good suggestion that we can consider it taking as a good, it can be a good job resource. Like if we have teachers are having positive school climate, and this can be a good job resource that can help them with their well-being. Like they can, it can help them safeguarding their well-being. So it can be a good job resource. But currently, so far till now, we are taking it as a moderator, and we will be looking at how it moderates the relationship. Like we assume that if students, if teachers have intrinsic motives plus they are having positive or supportive climate, their well-being will be good. They will be having more well-being.
Okay. Are you considering this a teacher level variable or a school level variable?
We are taking it as a school level variable, like
Okay.
reported by teachers as well as principals.
And are you looking at it as a mediator or a moderator or
Moderator. Moderated. This will be moderator of our relationship between teacher well-being and motives.
And how are you predicting that it's going to moderate the effects? I mean, I see it having a direct effect. I mean, most of these outcomes are going to be more positive if the school climate is positive. What's the hypothesis about the moderation?
Hypothesis about moderation is specifically is that if teachers are intrinsically motivated, plus they have positive school climate or supportive school climate, whatever you say, they will have more well-being. But if they have negative well-being and plus the other negative school climate is added, they will be having negative school well-being, negative well-being outcomes like stress and burnout.
Okay, good, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions here online?
Yep, sir.
So it might be different at the beginning when you show the career, like being a teacher. For example, it might be because of the money. After a while, there is no money. There is no motivation anymore. Do you care about these changes, like changing between these elements from the beginning when you're picking a career and at the end when you are a teacher and working as a teacher for a while? Do you control these changes during the time, or you don't care about them?
If you are specifically asking about me, I am much consistent. I was extrinsically motivated to become teacher and still extrinsically motivated. But we are not controlling these motivations. In our study 3, the qualitative one, we will be asking the teachers, have their motivations evolved over time? Have their motivations changed over time? Like, is there any situation or any case that they were initially they were motivated intrinsically, but when they came around into the teaching and they found like there's no good salary and no corporate culture and no such things. So have their motivations changed to extrinsic one, or have their motivations fade away, their commitments fade away? So these are the questions we will be asking in study 3. And when we know about these, I will answer these.
Any other final questions?
So,
I pointed out that's the same question I think your wife was asking.
Yep.
So it seems to be an important question. But I want to ask a question about study 1.
There are a couple of meta-analyses out there already on the reasons that teachers enter the profession and teacher outcomes. I felt, but I wonder what to do or different. That's good.
First, we have added the teacher attrition and turnover and intention to quit. Like we will be also looking for instead of only looking for the relationship between motives and well-being, we will be also looking for the studies that talk about the attrition, turnover, and intention to quit. Secondly, we will be looking for, if we find some studies that also talk about the school climate as a moderator or as a job resource, or in any way, we will be also including those studies into our meta. So we have a new, somehow a new picture of this construct and this understanding of this construct. Thank you.
Plus.
One question, you've got multiple outcomes, and I assume you're going to choose studies that have any one of those.
Sorry?
You've got in your selection criteria for your meta-analysis, you've got multiple outcomes. I assume you're going to take studies that have any one of them.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things is that some studies will have 2 or 3 and some studies will have only 1.
Yeah.
And typically the meta-analysis gets a mean for each one. And those means are not based on the same studies. So the ability to look at the differences between those are a little bit apples and oranges, whereas some studies will have multiple ones. And there you can say within a given study, the difference is this. And that's a much stronger way of looking at mean differences. And that gets a tricky bit with the meta-analysis. Now, I know that Jesse's going to help you with that. Oh, no, you're not. Sure. Jesse will help you with that because he's good at that. And Teresa knows about that sort of stuff too. But it's a different way of, it's a within study versus between study perspective. And the within study is a much stronger way of making comparisons. And there's nothing wrong with what you presented, but I just think that would be an interesting aspect to look at.
Yep, I think you are also here, and when we reach this stage. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So another round of applause. Thank you. Well done. All right. Can I just please ask the panel there, Matthew, Amanda, and Ryan, to stay online? I'm just going to transfer you over for the post-meeting debrief. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.